Welcome, everyone. Let's begin our lesson for today by going over the learning goals and success criteria. First, what are we learning? We're learning how to represent parent and offspring functions in multiple ways. How are we learning it? Through the representations of functions notes and the representations of functions assignment. When can we use this information? To recognize the similarities between problems and understand how their solutions might also be similar, and how to recognize that there are multiple ways to represent a solution to a problem, and that depending on the solution, one representation might be better than the other. How do you know you learned it? By getting a score of 4 on the representations of functions assignment. Now let's take a look at our agenda for today. We will begin by going over the learning goals and success criteria. While we do that, you'll fill out your Get It Started. Once you've completed your Get It Started, we'll go over it together and answer any questions that you may have. Next, we'll do our weekly raffle. After that, we'll go over the representations of functions notes, and then I'll give you time to complete the representations of functions assignment on Desmos. Once you've completed the assignment, we'll go over it together and answer any questions that you may have. At the end of class, we'll go back over our learning goals and success criteria while you fill out your before you go. Your only homework for tonight is to continue working on the Reasoning with Families of Functions study guide and any incomplete assignments that you may have. Let's take a look now at the representations of functions notes. The notes begin with the learning goals and success criteria. Now, how do we perform operations on a function? So without knowing the actual equation of a function, we can determine how a function will change by placing it under an operation. For instance, if I take and double any function, it's going to create a vertical stretch of 2. If it was 3 times f of x, it would have a vertical stretch of 3. If it was 1/2, it would have a vertical stretch of 1/2. So the number in front causes a vertical stretch. If we put that number inside the parentheses, so we scale the inside the parentheses, it's always going to have the opposite effect. So it's going to cause a horizontal stretch of, in this case, 1/2. Now, if this was 3, it would have a horizontal stretch of 1/3. If it was 1/2 in here, then it would have a horizontal stretch of 2. Now, if we add a constant at the end, it's going to cause a vertical shift up or down. So this is +1, so it would slide up. If it was +5, it would slide up 5. If it was -4, it would slide down 4. Now, if it's inside the parentheses, so x plus 1, it's going to shift us again. It's in the parentheses, so it's going opposite, so it's going to shift us to the left 1. If this was +8, it would shift us to the left 8. If it was -8, it would shift us to the right 8. Now, 2 f of x plus 1. So now we're combining two different things. So now we're going to have a vertical stretch of 2 because of the 2 in front. And then the +1 is going to slide us up 1. So we end up with 2 different transformations there. So let's take a look at the different representations of transformations of functions. So first of all, we have our function notations, which is y equals, and we could say f of x, negative f of x, whatever it is. We have verbal expressions. We could say that this is a reflection across the x-axis. So we have our versions here. Then we could do it graphically. We could say that this function and this function are the reflection of each other. So we could state this in any one of these ways. So we could write it in function notation, we could state it in words, or we could draw it.
Let's talk now about how to sign in to Desmos to complete your work. So what we're going to do is you're going to click on the link to go to the assignment, and it should take you to a page that looks kind of like this. And right here where it says sign in with Google, we're going to click there. And it's going to pop up with our email accounts. You're going to click on your school email account, and it should already have you logged in because you should have already been logged in using Google Classroom. From there, I'm just going to click start the activity, and it will take me into the assignment and allow me to begin. So that's how you will log in to Desmos using Google.
Let's take a look now at the representations of functions assignment. The assignment begins with the learning goals and success criteria. If we scroll down, there's a link here to take us to the Desmos activity. Go ahead and click on that link, and it should take you to a page that looks like this. We'll go ahead and click Start the Activity. The activity begins with the learning goals and success criteria. We'll go ahead and click Next. Now for each of these, we're going to match up the equation, the graph, and the verbal description. So let's look at y equals negative f of x. Well, we know that anytime we take this is really a -1. So that's going to cause a flip or a reflection. And it's going to be a reflection across the x-axis, so that goes there. And that's a reflection across the y-axis. So we're going to go ahead and match that up. And then we can see that we're going to find the graph, which is this one. This is a reflection across the y-axis. So we're going to go ahead and drag that and drop those together. And we'll do that for each of these. So each one of these equations, there's 5 of them, you should be matching those with the graphs and with the verbal description. And we'll click next. We'll do the same thing with this set here. So you'll go ahead and match those up. And then when you're done with that, you'll go ahead and go back to your Google form and click next. This will take you to your before you go. Go ahead and fill out your before you go and then submit your work on Google Classroom.